What's up, folks? Nigeria Miranda back, and we are ready to cover night 2 of Emergence of Impact Wrestling on AXS TV. So, yes, after the success of last week in night 1, we were definitely excited to see what was going to happen night 2 at the historic match in the main event with the Ironman match between Deonna Purrazzo and Jordynne Grace, along with a lot of other little things that's happened tonight. But I think because of bias reasons, the only thing we need to be talking about tonight is what happened at WRESTLE HOUSE.
Some storytelling, right? Some of wrestling's greatest storytelling happening at WRESTLE HOUSE.
It's very true. I think this might be the most enjoyable episode of WRESTLE HOUSE thus far. The toga party, which kind of took me back to my college days.
Yeah.
So I was definitely feeling that. Also didn't mind locker room talk this week as well too. There was a lot of crazy things happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll talk about that stuff. And as always, I like the disclaimer that if you have never watched our review, we don't kind of do like a recap of the entire show. We just talk about the things that really stood out to us or noteworthy or that you should check out upon watching this review. But yeah, I am going to definitely position over to Wrestle Talk. Now, you kind of know where I'm going at with this, but I'll let you have first since I know how much you adore Wrestle Talk. WRESTLE HOUSE each week. I was talking about locker room talk, and I've just missed the two together. But I know how much you adore WRESTLE HOUSE.
Think about if we had a crossover episode of locker room talk and WRESTLE HOUSE.
This is a thing. This could happen.
This could happen, and that would blow my mind, and it would be amazing. No, I agree. I think there actually was some good storyline in WRESTLE HOUSE this week, really culminating with Rosemary and Taya, which is why everyone got into this mess in the first place. Was Rosemary wanting to build something with Johnny Bravo, Johnny not really admitting his feelings, but Rosemary's plan worked. She was using Lawrence D, also known as Larry D, to make Johnny Bravo jealous, and it worked to the point where we actually had a match between Larry D and Johnny Bravo, which ended in a TKO, 15-second match. But we finally are getting somewhere with this story. This week, Johnny admitted to Taya that he has feelings for Rosemary, and hopefully Rosemary has feelings for him. And now we are going, Taya upset with that. Still probably a little buzzed from the toga party earlier in the night. And, it did what Johnny thought was going to happen, cause a rift between Taya and Rosemary. And it does seem like we have that. And it's leading to a winner-take-all match next week, Rosemary and Taya.
For love, for everything.
For everything. Yes. Primarily for Johnny Bravo, but I guess for WRESTLE HOUSE as well. I'm not sure what the full stipulations are.
This is really a barbaric episode here. Again, we're going back into the Greek and Roman times and with the toga party. Now we got a winner takes all for love. At this point now, who knows what's going to happen next week. But yes, the most important thing to talk about here is between Crazy Steve and, no other than the man himself. And you know what? And I don't even think I'm ready for next week. I may actually not review the show next week because I don't think my heart can take what's going to happen.
I don't know what we're going to see. In this week's match at WRESTLE HOUSE, we had Crazy Steve versus Johnny Swinger.
And loser has to dress up as the other person next week. So all roads lead to next week for me, and that's what I'm here for. But yeah, no, honestly, Johnny Swinger is still one of my favorites. And for what that gimmick match was, it was enjoyable because there's a lot of other serious stuff going on. But WRESTLE HOUSE is still very entertaining. And I'm very curious to know what others are thinking and feeling about that. I know it didn't sit over well immediately with people, but it has been proactively doing a lot of good things. One, keeping Kylie Ray away from Deonna Purrazzo, inevitably, and because they're in two different realms, shall I say, building storylines and giving people screen time that may not have got screen time. Absolutely. So, that's always good. So I can't complain about that. But yeah, you're getting more Johnny Bravo. You're getting more Johnny Bravo and Crazy Steve and a lot of these like really gimmicky people to get chance to really shine, and then in a like an environment that just suits for them. I think you're even getting a lot of Taya, who's giving a lot of like charisma too. As good as she is a wrestler and as good as she is with promos, like kind of see her kind of, I won't say freestyle, but kind of, simulating this reality show star mentality. It works for her,
It really does, and you're right. It's helped give some airtime for people that we haven't really seen a lot of airtime for, and also good character development, investing in people, so that way when they get back into the ring, hopefully fans are reinvested in them, like Team Triple XL. I didn't really care about them before, and I care about them a little bit more now. Same thing with the Deaners. I still can't tell them apart. I still don't know who's who, but they're one of the funniest aspects of Wrestle House. And before that, I honestly wouldn't have given them the time of the day. But now I like watching them. So my hope is that too, that this translates out into the ring, and when they get out of Wrestle House and back into a wrestling ring, I'm going to care about what they do. And that's important. It's a way to keep people on screen, but also, have them in a new way where fans can kind of get reintroduced to them or introduced to them for the first time, and keep hopefully that continuity so that when they're in a wrestling ring again someday, oh, those are the guys from Wrestle House. I remember that. I liked them. I'm going to watch this match.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't even agree enough. Right? Again, me, I'm all in for Johnny Swinger. So like, if you're giving Johnny Swinger something to be more swing man, I'm all for it. But, it's a good relief to everything that's going on, because yes, back in the Impact Zone, you got other things that's going on. Like Eddie Edwards, who's your champion, is doing open challenges. He got a challenge from RVD and your favorite, the Twerk Master herself, Katie Forbes. So we know you enjoyed the opening match, but more importantly, what led on beyond that. So I'll give credit where it's due. The Rob Van Dam and Eddie Edwards match was absolutely solid. And Rob Van Dam, much like one of them said, but much like they said, is that he still can go in the ring, and even at his age, I think he still puts on quality matches. And I definitely didn't expect the title change here, but nonetheless, it was a high quality match that given removing the circumstances of the program that's actually happened here, I could actually see Rob Van Dam once again becoming a world champion in Impact Wrestling. But I think, that's got to be at some point on the plan. But I think this match just shows that he definitely can carry that championship with quality matches, and it would like logistically make sense for the business.
Yeah, we got some classic RVD in this match. The spinning kick on the guardrail. A lot of the moves that we have are classic RVD, and the fact that he could still do that in this period of his career, is still blows my mind. And Eddie Edwards is a fighting champion. That's exactly what he said from day one, and we see that every week. I've loved the variety that we've seen in his competitors. Starting
I agree.
With Trey to last week we had Brian Myers, people who are still new in wrestling, people who are new on the roster, people who have been on the roster for a long time. And the fact that Eddie's defeated all of them shows, the fact that he is a force on the Impact roster, and deservingly the Impact World Champion. Now, I wish we would have gotten some more prelude to how this happened, but at the same time, I think that's been the thing with the open challenges. It really could be anybody. No explanation needed, but I think Eddie Edwards continues to shine every week, and he's showing why he is deservedly the world champion.
Yeah, the relevance of the title means so much to a lot of fans and viewers. So, seeing him each and every week defending, absolutely, is always good for the company. But I think, more importantly is always, what's the next picture? We know what the next pay-per-view is going to be, Bound for Glory, which is going to be in October. But I like the idea of crazy Eric Young here with Eddie Edwards. I like it for a lot of reasons, because of history. Because when you're signing somebody, especially the vignettes that they're packaging him with, It just makes sense. He's doing things on his time. He's not being victim. He's not going to be victim to circumstance no more. So, I also think, like, regardless of it just being a wrestling thing, I think that Eddie Edwards has to look across the board and respect that and want to work with him. And I said it before, like, anybody I've ever talked to that knows Eric Young, say he's one of the nicest people and respectable people in all of wrestling and in your locker room. So I just think there's a lot of mutual respect between the two of them that's just ultimately going to build for a good storyline in the future. And yes, I do mirror what you said. I love the versatility in the open challenge because it is that perception of who's going to appear, who's going to be the next person. And you can't just keep having the Brian Myers thing happen.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, oh, debut. They lost, so I love the definitely the mixture of how they're doing this, and it's just really well done. And Eddie Edwards is absolutely becoming one of the most must-watch programs in Impact Wrestling right now.
Yeah, I do have to admit, I am surprised in the direction that they're going in for next week. After Eddie Edwards' match, Eric Young came out and attacked him, said he wanted him next week. Then this led to him leaving the ring, Eddie Edwards going into the back and trying to find him, Eddie coming back into the ring and accepting the challenge. So we got kind of a roundabout way. I thought that maybe we could have gotten it all done in one segment, but that's just me. But the fact that they're going to go with this already next week, I did think that this was truly, they were going to wait for Bound for Glory. Yeah. That's coming in on October, not too long from now. But it seems like they're going for it next week. Now, this, of course, doesn't mean one and done, but it does mean we're going to get them in the ring fairly soon. And I thought there would have been more storytelling that they could have done between now and Bound for Glory. I would have really wanted to anticipate that. But, I do think that they have such good momentum with Eric Young right now. Him being part of the promos for Bound for Glory and exactly that. Really him being able to, he's not being the victim anymore. He's not the young kid anymore. He's coming into Impact Wrestling, his home, where he knows, completely free of, any being concerned about how people perceive him, who he thinks he should be based off of what people tell him and what the industry tells him. He's just coming in as him, 100%. Yeah. And I just love this new direction that we have. And really, he's not going to dilly-dally around. Like, he's going straight for the prize.
Yeah, I just can't agree with you more. And I think that, the one thing I learned about Impact recently is that they're not waiting on anything. So if the programming makes sense and the storyline is at heads, then they're going for it. And we're about a month out of about 2 months out from Bound for Glory. So why not? And I definitely don't think it's a one hitter quitter here. I think this would definitely be layers on layers of this story, and maybe we see a title change here. It could definitely go that way. They've been really high on heels having their championships in the past, and much success for it. And I think a lot of viewers like heels, having a championship, and baby faces are chasing. Eddie Edwards is a face here. His storyline shows the true resilience of, almost the American dream and banking yourself and working really hard, getting to reach your goals and so on. But it ultimately takes a really good heel to triumph over that, for that heel to really be imposed as to being a good heel. So no one can argue right now. Eric Young is doing tremendous heel work, and I think him coming back and people chasing after him just makes sense. And I can imagine how many people want to work with him in the locker room. So I'm just overall on all aspects, I really like what they're doing with the two of them here.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very interested to see what happens next week. I really am, because I hope that this is just a step towards Bound for Glory.
Yeah. Yep. All right, what else we got going on here before we talk about the main event that we ultimately have to? Well, okay, so I guess we can go to the Willie Mack and Brian Myers match. So for me, this match was okay, but more importantly, I was kind of wondering, like, all right, well, both of them really do need wins here.
Yeah.
Who ultimately hurts more by taking the loss. Is what I was thinking the entire time. I don't know what to feel about Willie Mack right now. There's really no momentum. I really don't know the angle in the storyline. What do you see next for him?
That's a good question, because right now he's out of the X-Division title picture. That was pretty clear after losing clean to Chris Bay on the rematch. We haven't really seen him win that much since. As well, he lost to Eric Young, and now he has a loss to Brian Myers. Now that loss was, a little shady, but I do wonder what is next for him. I could easily see him in the world title picture. I'm surprised he hasn't come out to challenge Eddie Edwards, but I also agree. What would that loss do? I think that his next few moves need to be pretty calculated. We need to have some direction with him. And he seems a little floundering now. Now, maybe this means also a longer-term program with Brian Myers. Maybe he, kind of enacts some revenge against him for the way that Brian won this past week. And it builds both of them up because, really, I'm still surprised by how well Brian Myers is coming across television. And I think the win is something great for him. But, I think what we ultimately need to see is a strong program with somebody. And I do see one with Willie Mack as a possibility. Why not? But Willie Mack needs to get a win somewhere along the way.
Yeah, I'm clueless here. I have no clue what to do. I almost would not have been mad if Willie Mack was in WRESTLE House at this point.
Right? I mean, hey, that's where some of these things where people have some different programs and different opportunities like WRESTLE House can come in because they're still on TV. You still see them every week. But, even the matches in WRESTLE House really don't have that much on their record. I think the big one that they've really pushed is Kylie Rae and Taya. That seems to be the only one of big significance. But hell, you could have any match in WRESTLE House. That doesn't mean it's going to translate to, a win in an actual wrestling ring. So, I agree. Maybe he should stop by and visit WRESTLE House.
He got to find his way in there.
He got to find his way in there. That's true. Maybe he'll be part of season 2 because of how successful season 1 was. But I
to be honest, I just have no answers for that scenario at all. I'm at loss, Let's talk about EC3 now. EC3, who stole the TNA Heavyweight Championship from Moose, and we had no clue what it will be about, but we did know that tonight that we would see him come out and sort of address why he stole the TNA World Heavyweight title, and ultimately, for me, maybe left us with more questions here. I'm not sure. I mean, I thought the promo was well, and I get the purpose here, but I don't know. I guess for me, I guess it doesn't fall into narrative as to the whole, what is it? I forget his whole moniker right now. I'm slipping my mind. Create your own narrative.
Yeah,
right?
Create your narrative.
Yeah,
control your narrative.
Control your narrative. There we go. Here we go. Snap back. I guess I don't see the whole control your own narrative thing by taking something to destroy it. Now, I guess I was more or less suspecting, maybe just because I'm just shallowly thinking, but I guess I was more expecting him to take it, to drive it and use it and utilize it in ways that he wanted to. And instead of feel like it haunted his past. First of all, him winning that championship did nothing but good things for him. By the way,
exactly. That's where I thought they were going at the very beginning. I thought he was gonna go with "I earned this, you didn't, Moose."
Yeah,
that's exactly where I thought they were going.
Of course, I would have made him more face like, but
Yeah, and in some ways he does seem, I don't know. I guess against Moose too, I do feel like overall he is a face. I don't know. I mean, that goes into a larger conversation about, face heel dynamics in the 20th century. If that's not my master's thesis, I don't know what is at this point. But Yeah, I thought that would be the way that they went, but destroying it in order to help clear his past in a way that it's a nuisance, that it's a weight on his back. I don't know. I guess that somewhat makes sense that he wants to destroy it in order to move on, but you're absolutely right. It only did good things for his career. So it's not a sign of weakness or anything about bad in his past. It's one of the best things that happened in his entire career.
Yeah. I that's exactly how I felt about it. So I don't know. I'm gonna be patient here and see what happens the next week. We didn't get to hear back from Moose, but I definitely was left scratching my head like, okay, that was a good promo if I knew nothing about EC3. So that I do, this has done nothing good for him. Now, I don't even know if I was under a rock or not, but they didn't show no flashback moment of the week this week, right?
They did not. No, they did not. That was very curious.
I mean, because at the same time, like, just, hypothetically, if they was going to go with AC3, you can't show him in any of his moments in history because, they were probably him winning the championship or a bit match.
And they've already done that fairly recently, I thought, sometime in the past few months.
It's all positive effects for viewerships on it. Like, hey, this man was killing stuff here. Regardless of what happened in WWE, he was the man here. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll be patient with it. I definitely will. Ready to talk about the main event?
Yeah, I do want to mention something. I mean, so last week we made a fairly big deal about this. Rohit Raju winning the X-Division Champion. He did have an interview this week, which kind of surprised me because I thought his approach, and who knows what this approach still is going to look like, but he talked about, acknowledging the way that he's been viewed in the locker room, last resort, no respect. Last ditch effort. Literally we saw multiple weeks where like he was picked to be tag partners because literally nobody else would. So he acknowledged that. And also just that it impacted his ability to have opportunities. And his approach to being the X-Division champion is that he's going to give out opportunities, the ones that he didn't have. I still think that's going to look differently. I still think there's going to be elements of him that won't accept challenges, that he's going to try. I can't take it for what it's worth because he schemed his way into the championship. I'm sure he's going to scheme himself into keeping the championship. So, I can appreciate someone who's worked really hard, which he has. He has been a consistent member of the Impact roster. He's a great wrestler.
Yeah.
But I don't trust him. I do not trust him. And I know he's going to do something to try, if scheming got him this far, he's going to continue to scheme. There's no point of him, now being all Mr. Eddie Edwards and, accepting these open challenges. I think if we have a spectrum of like Moose and Eddie Edwards, more on the invitational side to, wide open invitations, he's going to he's not going to invite anybody in and he's not going to accept any invitations.
Okay. I mean,
that's just my take.
I do not disagree at all. I am also puzzled with this, and I am also still in my feelings about Chris Bay not holding the X-Division Championship right now.
It's hard.
But this could be good because this has been good, right? And it has created an emotion that left me unbalanced last week because of how shocking this was. So I think you definitely have not been wrong about this. So we'll see. We'll evaluate that again next week. And we'll see what happens with it. But yeah, him giving opportunities, yeah, right. That's why I almost forgot about that. Because when I heard that, I was like, yeah, well, that's BS.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Trust me, I wasn't falling for that. So we'll see. But yeah, okay. So the main event, which is the knockouts. Two ladies doing history in the first Ironman match. 30-minute Ironman match was the main event tonight for the Knockouts World Championship. I said that this was going to be the match to watch. It was absolutely going to be an instant classic. They were going to do the thing. And just a couple of things I want to talk about here. For 30 minutes, undoubtedly, I knew they can do it. So as far as just the solid wrestling, the cardio, endurance to go the whole 30 minutes, absolutely executed. What I will say about this is that I am not I guess I'm not a fan of Ironman matches being all booked the same. So once I started seeing no pinfalls coming into the last few minutes, I was like, oh, we know what's going to happen here. They're going to cram them all in the last 2 to 3 minutes. And we've seen that so many times. My favorite Ironman match between Jay Lethal and Roger Strong didn't execute it that way. It went an hour at that too. Hour plus, shall I say. But I want, if you're going to do something historic to me, don't make it. I guess for me, if this felt so much more the same, I felt like the novelty in it was completely detached from it, because it just felt like a regular Ironman match that we've seen, because the booking of it just was too familiar. But not to take too much away from them, they did the wrestles, and it was a solid match to me.
Yeah.
I love how they worked all over the ring in doing so. Deonna making sure it's very clear that she's still the heel here. And we know we know that Kylie Ray is waiting. We know that that's what they want to do. I didn't expect a title change, but I wanted to feel like there was going to be one, and it never crossed my mind because of just how this match was booked. So to sum this up, I'm just a little tad bit, I'll say, frustrated with how this match was done. And then it ultimately sucks because I know we're not going to get this again. Also, I will say I would love to have seen this in front of a crowd. I would have loved to see them feed off the energy for this duration. So that's my thoughts.
I wish there was a little bit more build up to this, especially more recently. When we had the original build up to SLAMMIVERSARY, there was a lot of intensity between these two competitors, to the point where they did that contract signing, and Jordynne just, used it as an opportunity to beat up Deonna. And so I was surprised that we didn't get a lot of that to this build up. It just seemed like there wasn't. I mean, you would think that Jordynne would really want to continue that intensity going into this. I think we got a lot of good promo work from Deonna, but overall, I just felt like there was something lacking. And the fact that it was the first women's Ironman match, and as much as they advertised that for this show, I don't feel like there was also a lot of acknowledgement on really the impact that this is going to have on the knockouts division in the history. And acknowledgement of that. I just didn't feel like it was there. It could have been more grandiose as far as the build up to it. And that was something that once we got into the match, it really hit me that I wish there was a bigger build up to this because of this first time ever. I also agree that a live crowd would have loved this match. Technically, though, really sound. A really good match. They had really great flow through the entirety of it, which I can only imagine is very hard to do for 30 minutes straight. And again, you see, they did such a good job of accentuating their strengths with Jordynne, beautiful suplexes, beautiful strength, and Deonna with, her submissions and her quickness. Like these two are some of the best in women's wrestling right now. But I have to agree a bit when it came to the pinfalls really starting at the 26-minute mark. I mean, really, I wish they were more spaced out. They could have done that a bit differently and space out the pinfalls a little bit more. I understand why they're doing that, to create this sense of urgency. You pick up the pace, you pick up a little bit more sense of panic. And I wasn't a big fan of the ref bump because now we're not going to really see Jordynne and Deonna wrestle again. So it makes it seem like, Jordynne should have gotten that second pinfall, but didn't. But, ultimately this feels like the end of that chapter now. So regardless of how it went, it's still 2-1 pinfalls, So to me, that felt really distracting from the match. Now it did sell Deonna as, a heel, which she truly is, and capitalizing on any opportunity she can. Same thing though with the belt, situation, all of it. But I just, that whole final sequence was something that too we've literally seen before. We've seen it before.
Yeah.
So they had the chance to maybe do something a little different, and they didn't, and that's their choice. But we've literally seen an ending like that before in another women's Ironman match.
It's so crazy how much, Josh Matthews put emphasis on, what Slammiversary did as far as them changing and making a clear, decisive point to everybody that, they're moving to the future. They're doing things different. And so on, all the words is used, but like in this match just felt so the same, and it's just I'm just a little unsatisfied with it because I was really expecting this to be amazing. But for what it's worth, I still think it was a solid match. I would have liked a little bit more. It's not. Here's the thing: if it's on, I'll watch it. I won't go seek this match because I know it could have been better. That's how I'm feeling about it. I hate the ref bump. That took away so much for it. Then the whole what if factor, I'm not really cool with that. And then if this is going to be the last chapter of it for a while, then I'm just not satisfied. I'm not happy with it. So
yeah, I think beautiful wrestling match, maybe not the great execution of storytelling.
Yeah. All right. Well, is there anything else we need to cover for tonight? What Impact?
No, I mean, I think we covered all the big things. I mean, this Ironman match was really the highlight of the show, what they really built a lot of it around. So, I mean, now we're going to be moving outside of Emergence to the road for Bound for Glory. It seems like lots of things set up for next week. We have Eddie Edwards and Eric Young. We have the Rascals versus Madman Fulton and Ace Austin, Sami Callihan issuing an open challenge to RVD. So we're going to get kind of that, back into the swing of things. Who knows? But, I feel like Emergence has set some things up for not only next week, but probably what we're going to see over for the next, month or so, and really push the road to Bound for Glory.
Yes, please remember that we're also getting at Wrestle House Johnny Swinger. Oh, wait, yes. Johnny Swingers won't be in the match, but he will be dressed as Crazy Steve.
He will be dressed as Crazy Steve, and that just shut up and take my money. That's really all I want to see. I want to see Johnny Swinger dressed up as Crazy Steve. Like that, I don't know what it's going to look like. I'm just really excited to see it.
Me too. All right, folks. So thank you for watching our review tonight. Again, we're back each and every week covering this. Definitely let us know. Let us know in the comments what you thought was the best match of the night of Emergence Night 2. How'd you feel about the main event? I definitely want to know specifically what you thought about that, and anything else that spoke out or stood out to you for the night. But yeah, that's all we got. We left it all on the table. I'll be back next week to talk specifically only about Johnny Swinger, and Miranda can talk about the rest of the show. And that's just what it is, folks. So that's it. All right, but thank you for watching, and we'll catch you then.